Hi, I'm Sherry Youngward. Welcome to the Quiet Place podcast. This is a place for you to come up for air anytime, day or night, and find a quiet moment of replenishment and rest. I am so glad you are here. If you would like to hear about upcoming gatherings, new music, and online women's events, which I offer once a month, please join my email list. Also, if you'd like to help support this podcast, thank you so much. Every little bit helps. You can do all these things at sherryyoungward.com. Thanks again. This episode is the fifth in a series called We Take Our Turns. I'm going through a book I wrote with that title. Sometimes I'll read word for word, and oftentimes add a backstory or extended thoughts. Since We Take Our Turns is gathered bits and pieces of my journals, you can listen in any order you would like. This episode is dedicated to Brent, Carrie, and Jonathan. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 8. And above all things, have fervent love for one another, for love will cover a multitude of sins. Love covers. We all see faults in each other, especially those we know well. Like bark on a tree, love covers and protects vulnerable places. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. People fail, though, even with best intentions. If insecurity and heartache overstay their visit, carefully inspect your heart and see if humans are crowding the space meant only for God. I've been crushed on both sides of the impossible weight of misplaced expectations. I think we all have scars. He can use those too. I'm going off-roading a bit from the book to give some backstory to those words. First, let's look at love will cover a multitude of sins. And above all things, have fervent love for one another, for love will cover a multitude of sins. I used the Complete Word Study Bible and looked up the word cover. It said, to envelop, wrap around as bark, skin, shell, or plaster, to cover over, which is what inspired love covers. We all see faults in each other, especially those we know well, like bark on a tree. Love covers and protects vulnerable places. Think of your closest people. No matter how much you love them, you know their weaknesses, their vulnerabilities. You cover them, and they cover you. Because they see your weaknesses too, oftentimes more than you can see on your own. Our closest people are those who we can be around in any state. It's a gift to have grace in our relationships. You may look back over your life and see how God provided people to cover you while you healed. I remember a couple, Pat and Stuart, who let me come over to their house and sit on their couch and just be. They went on with their routine, making dinner or whatever, and I could just be with them exactly in the broken state I was in. This was a time when my wound was wide open, and I needed protection and time to heal. I have not forgotten their kindness. Maybe you have been or are a Pat and Stuart to someone. Part of loving is protecting vulnerable places until they are strong again. Look at the example of Jesus. Think of his relationship with Peter. John chapter 13, verses 36 through chapter 14, verse 3. Simon Peter asked him, "Lord, where are you going?" Jesus replied, "Where I am going, you cannot follow now, but you will follow later." Peter asked, "Lord, why can't I follow you now? I will lay down my life for you." Then Jesus answered, "Will you really lay down your life for me? Very truly, I tell you, before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times." Then chapter 14 begins. As I understand it, there was no break between chapter 13 and 14. Jesus spoke to the troubled hearts of his disciples, and maybe especially to Peter. He continues, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am." Jesus knew Peter would deny him. Still, he comforted him and all the disciples, who all would leave him shortly. Peter wasn't the only one who denied him. Jesus covered their misunderstandings and weaknesses. He knew they would grow and change. He still proclaimed to them and to us, "And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am." Jesus showed supreme patience and love. He's still the same. And above all things, have fervent love for one another, for love will cover a multitude of sins. Guess who wrote those words? Peter. When we are hurt by other humans, it can be so hard to shake. We may struggle through the process of forgiveness. Sometimes it's a struggle and a process for sure. Just because we forgive, it doesn't mean our memory clears. Scenes may play again and again, and we rehearse and imagine all the things we wish we could say or would have said. Certain seasons are hard, to say the least, but as a follower of Jesus, we follow his lead. He forgave us, and we too must forgive. Jesus forgave Peter before he even denied him. There are times forgiveness is easier. It's just kind of built in. It's a mutual grace. It's not that we turn a blind eye to harmful, sinful behavior. We have fervent love for each other as we seek to work out our faith. We cover and keep each other on the road to health. Health both in relationship with God and each other. There is only one love that will never fail. Only one. If our expectation is on a human to provide a love that won't fail, it's not only unrealistic, it's unfair. But we do it. I've done it. Which is why I wrote, "If insecurity and heartache overstay their visit, carefully inspect your heart and see if humans are crowding the space meant only for God." As our security grows in God's love, it helps us give fervently out of our abundance. instead of react from our perceived lack. I am going to read from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 1 through 8, and then sing from Psalm 143, verses 8 through 10, a song titled Your Unfailing Love. So, take a nice deep breath and settle in while I read and then sing a prayer. Let the morning bring you word of God's unfailing love. If I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but do not have love, I have become a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and know all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. And if I give all my possessions to feed the poor, and if I surrender my body to be burned, but do not have love, it profits me nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind and is not jealous. Love does not brag and is not arrogant. Love does not act unbecomingly. It does not seek its own, is not provoked, does not take into account a wrong suffered, does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices with the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. Let the morning bring me word of your unfailing love, for I have put my trust in you. Show me the way I should go, for to you I lift up my soul. Let the morning bring me word of your unfailing love, for I have put my trust in you. Show me the way I should go, for to you I lift up my soul. Rescue me from my enemies, oh Lord, for I hide myself in you. Teach me to